crazy how many teams had a chance to win. The Ripper GC went from 9 back to leading by 2 to near the cellar again late in the day. It was so volatile, counting 4 scores. It was pretty nuts, but you know, the cliques have been cellar dwellers for basically 2.5 seasons, and they come out victorious today. That's awesome.
It'll be the summer of the cliques, definitely. So, like I said, there's definitely more to come from us.
It was a magnificent ball striking performance.
Yeah, you know, I got to speak to someone in his camp before he teed off this morning, and they said to me that he is finally feeling extremely comfortable out here. He's not thinking about any swing thought. He's going out there, he's swinging so freely, and it certainly showed today. The way he drove the ball, the way he hit his irons, and even in his putting as well.
Yeah, and lives in Texas, went to school in Texas. His tour win on the PGA Tour was here in Houston, which is Texas, and now his first live win, Texas.
Honestly, it was just a matter of playing solid coming down the stretch. I think there was a switch there on 15 that I made birdie, he made bogey, and I just knew that I had to power in pretty much, and it was mine. The 18 I made bogey, but it worked. He played unbelievable, and he put pressure all the way to the end, and it was a good battle. I love playing here. Obviously, Texas treats me well. It's my adopted home state, so I'm just happy to get it done again.
All right, welcome in-game live PrimeTime, a very special edition here on this Monday now, June the 17th, Game 5 of the NBA Finals. Just about 25 minutes away from tipping off at Boston as the Dallas Mavericks trying to be able to get this thing back to Dallas for a Game 6 on Thursday, and they've got a lot to build up on since they absolutely demolished this Boston team just a couple of nights ago in an elimination spot. Hardest game to win is going to be the closeout game, and the Celtics are learning that. So there is a lot at stake here tonight for both the Celtics legacy and for Luka and Kyrie for that matter. So will they or won't they? Dave Sharapan hanging out here, and we'll have every minute of this game plus some for you guys. So you have, if you've just found us for the first time, welcome in. A lot of tickets to be cashed tonight, not just in the NBA, but Major League Baseball already underway. A couple of interesting games late as well. So we got a loaded card here tonight, Dave. What are you thinking about with this Dallas and Boston game? Are we getting a Game 6? The all-important question. Or more importantly, will we be talking to ourselves come 9:30 tonight here? Because basically it's an 80-point Boston blowout here. What do you think we're going to get?
Boy, let's hope so, because Peralta and I did it on Friday. And, I mean, you want to try to learn how to, you know, people want to do the content, want to do the stuff, like try to figure out how to talk or what to talk about in a 38-point blowout, which we did in Game 4. How do you come back from that? You root for the Celtics in 5, which apparently is what a lot of people have. They picked this before the series. It's been playing out, win both at home, split in Dallas, come back with the chance to clinch. I'm telling you this, Joe, Boston better win tonight, because if they don't, it's going to, mean we'll be talking about Game 6 again on Thursday, me and you, and people with Boston tickets to win a series, like win a Game 1 and win a series at minus 130 that have really good bets at a really good number will start to tighten up a little bit. Things are starting to get a little bit tight if you got the Boston stuff on, which I got the Boston stuff on. I got this, but there's baseball too. You know, it's Skeens Day. I found a Pirate hat that's green. Everything's green. Yeah. So Skeens is dealing. They're up 4-1, bottom of third. That's good. I had a great thing happen to me today, too, while I was doing Bostonian versus the book. I got a window in the distance, and a cardinal just came up and sat on the rail outside the window right when we were doing the show. I said, that's got to be a max play Cardinals. That out of nowhere in Vegas, a Cardinal just popped up, sat on my balcony, and just stared at me for like 30 seconds. And I looked up and saw him, and I said, yeah, Cardinals tonight. So Cardinals against Miami. Things are rolling, Joe. We got a lot of things we got to talk about, including the first half total. You've been a monster. You've been a monster with the first half, the first quarter. Every game we talked about it, the playoffs, you've been nailing it. You like first quarter, first half over tonight? Anything?
No. I do like Philadelphia hitting another home run and up 6-1 now in the Padres. So how's that working out? Yeah, so that's actually pretty fun right now. No, I do believe that this is a game much better suited for the total than for trying to figure out whether or not Boston is going to cover 6.5, because I find it fascinating, Dave. There is another pros versus Joes line drawn in the sand here, because it would appear that this opened up at 7. It hasn't gone back to 7 at any particular point, which tells me, yeah, there is some influential people backing Dallas and the points here tonight, which is ironic considering that the record with the spread in the finals, it's obnoxious, right? It almost never comes into play. So just pick the winner and you're good to go. But there seems to be an awful lot of market support, big money market support, apparently from the Mavs here tonight to get it done. 210.5. I'm unsure of why everyone seems to think that this is going to be a 115 to 100 kind of game here. I don't see it. Remind me again exactly how many points have the Celtics gone over or hit 110 points yet in 4 games? No, they have not. Have they hit any better in 4 straight games than the 33% from 3 they're hitting now? No, I don't think they've done that either. So it was great that in January they were hitting 44% from 3, but this is June, and it has not worked out all that well for the Celtics from 3 in this series. I'm not quite sure what switch people are expecting to be flipped. I think, Dave, isn't it, when the longer the series goes, the more defense becomes, the harder it is, especially when you have desperate teams that have nothing to lose, play defense, make it very difficult in order to run away with games. So I think the under is all happening here tonight. Boston could very well win this game, but I don't see them getting more than what they have already gotten in this series, Dave, which I think is the most, 106, 107.
Yeah.
I'm not even sure they get that here tonight.
It's one of those situations where your pros, the Joes, the Jimmies, the Bobs, even the Butchies, everybody, they bet them over, and can't get a game over. So they come back, and what do? They bet the game over. The books made the number lower to make sure that if you were even thinking about it, you should go over. I'm with you. The blowout potential in this leads me to believe that it could go under. And I don't know, any book that touches 7, and there's some out there right now that are at 7, they're just waiting. They know they could go to 6 anytime and get a bet on the Celtics. And if you go more than 7, you could get a bet on the Mavericks. Sometimes the number's just right. You give odds makers and books and guys that do this stuff all the time, you give them all this information. By the time you get to game 5, that's the tightest number. That's a snare drum number. It is tighter than a snare drum. All right? You can't beat it. It's very, very hard. That's why the in-game stuff, we should see some fluctuations. I mean, I think we get, I don't know, the game 4 was an outstanding performance by Dallas, but it was just as much a bad performance by Boston. I think tonight we get everybody's best shot. We got a couple days rest. We're back at home at Boston. I'm hoping it's an entertaining game. I'm hoping it's one of those situations where we know what we're seeing and everybody's their max effort, their max success, whatever it is there. Then you throw Porzingis into this whole mix, Joe. And all the rumors that came out this afternoon, he's good. He's going to play. There it is right there. I mean, he's available, expecting to see him tonight. That's Joe Mazzulla right there on Kristaps Porzingis. What does that mean? Does that mean he's playing?
I don't understand the whole handling of him to begin with. I don't know why was he available last game in a closeout situation so you didn't have to be in this spot here tonight? Why wasn't he, if he was available, why didn't he play? I think it's all great. At home, the crowd will love it. He goes out there, but this guy's got to be bordering on maybe 60% at best, Dave. I mean, you got to be kidding me. If he wasn't healthy enough to play in the closeout spot in Game 4 when you had Dallas dead to rights, and then you allowed them to get up and get breath, and he didn't play, so great, you're going to roll him out there. If he's not 80%, good luck. Let's see how long that lasts here tonight. But
the books didn't put up
I'm not
props.
buying it.
Most books did not put up props, so the books aren't buying
Correct.
it. That's all I needed to know.
The home crowd will buy it, and that's maybe the only reason they're making him active here tonight. So get ready. In-game live, primetime, Game 5 of the NBA Finals coming up here on the grid.
Panthers minus 2.5 games, plus 330. Panthers 2+ goals in every game, plus 225.
It's going to take a monumental effort for them not to get 2 goals in a game. It's going to take what Bobrovsky did last night. It's going to take Skinner to do in Edmonton. They're not going to do it in Florida.
Game time decisions only on SportsGrid.
8 playoff games at home for Boston in Beantown. They are 6-2 straight up.
The wild card, I would say, in this game is not necessarily, well, what are we going to get out of Luka Doncic, Kyrie Irving, Brown, and certainly Tatum. It is Kristaps Porzingis to me, because we're not getting back a player that's like, hey, rotational guy. Like, remember when Derek Lively went down with an injury? He was playing well, but a young player, like a piece.
The early line, only on SportsGrid.
Your gut says Miami is going to win, and you should take the over. Your gut also said your NFT selfies would only go up in value. They didn't. But your head is on SportsGrid and knows the QB is in concussion protocol. The backup has a 45 QBR against the zone coverage. The New York D has the most sacks in the league. So yeah, trust your head. It's smarter to be on SportsGrid.
Garrett Cole is getting ready to come back too. I guess this, look, they've played great without him, but you're not going to say to Garrett Cole, look, don't come back. I mean, it's a ridiculous conversation to have.
They're not going to take any unnecessary chances. And look, they're at the point where they have a lead. They certainly are going to make the playoffs, I would say, barring some sort of complete collapse. And that's all it takes.
Newswire, only on SportsGrid.
All right, we are moments away here from the opening tip of Game 5. Can't believe it. Here we are, Boston and Dallas, the NBA Finals. Joe Raineri alongside Dave Sharapan. We welcome in Joe Dellera of the Action Network here, who, without a doubt, has got a side on this game, or maybe a total, or maybe a player prop. Joe, would you be shocked? Let me start with this. Would you be shocked if we were going back to Dallas for a Game 6?
I mean, you can't say that you'd ever be shocked when Luka Doncic is on the other side of the court, right? So, you have the best player in the series in Luka. Wouldn't be shocked, but at the same time, I think that Boston takes care of business tonight and also covers the number.
Ooh. Where have you been Delera. I'm going to call you Delera because I got Raineri and Delera, and you're both named Joe. So we got to go last name. All right. With the total. So the total has been bet. I mean, a lot of people have been betting over. They're 0 for 4. And the total tonight's the lowest it's been. And now a lot of people are flipping and going, you know what? Maybe the under, maybe not. Any opinion, strong or not, on the total?
I think I still lean over. I mean, my understanding is, based on looking at what the market has kind of showed us, there's been sharp action late every game on the over. And this game, I know we're kind of seeing it flip flop around a little bit with, Porzingis's injury or whatever the subterfuge is regarding his health, right? But we are seeing this game. I think last game probably would have gone over. Dallas kind of figured something out a little bit offensively. The offense was rolling a bit. They scored 122 points. Boston just couldn't make a shot. They shot 36% from the floor. So to me, there's probably some adjustments on both sides that can be made. I would lean towards the over, but to be honest, I'm not the biggest side totals better. I generally am more player props or sides.
All right, so let's break this game up here first. If I like Boston, I probably like them early in the first half, right? Because this is a team that is only shooting 34% from three in this series. It doesn't matter what they did last month. It only matters what they've done recently. If they are going to start regressing, to the mean here and start shooting closer to 40%, well, then they are going to do a couple of things in the half, right? They're going to cover the 3.5 or the 4 points. They're going to go over their team total in the first half. If you like Boston, we should probably like everything about them early in this game.
Yeah, I think that you would have to like them early and probably for the full game too. I mean, the one thing with all the 3-point shooting is it obviously introduces a lot of variance, right? Because that's just what they've experienced. So that's part of why I preferred the full game number, just because I think I can play it out as the game goes on. But I will say that Dallas seemed to have figured something out a little bit on the defensive end with Derek Lively, because they were playing basically a one-man zone and just leaving some of the guys on the perimeter open. Now they were missing those shots the past couple games, but like Derek White had some really good looks. Jaylen Brown even had some good looks. So I do think that there's an opportunity for the shooting to kind of swing, but I think that Boston just wasn't totally ready or wasn't totally prepared for some of the looks that they were getting, that Dallas was kind of surrendering because they were essentially saying, we don't want you to beat us at the rim. Make the extra pass. We know you're a good 3-point shooting team, but we got to just try to do something different. So I think that it's entirely possible that Boston, maybe they don't shoot better, but at the same time, these looks are still pretty open just based on the way that Dallas is defending them. So I think there is some reason for regression to the mean, which would be an improvement for Boston shooting the 3 ball.
So, Delera, you got any Mavericks props? Because a lot of people are talking about regression to the mean and all these other things. Luka's interesting, right?
Yeah.
He gets great first half, and they don't go over the point total. You don't go over the point total. It's a lot of frustration for bettors. It's been one of those things. Between Luka, Kyrie, anything jump off the page to you, at least start with Luka with Mavericks props for the people.
Yeah, so actually, I've been betting Luka over first quarter points. So you can get it opened at 8.5. We got bet up to 9.5. He's had 13 first quarter points in 3 consecutive games, and in game 1 he only had 7. He starts off hot, and I think a lot of it has to do. He's getting that pain-killing shot. So when are you going to feel the best? The first quarter. And I think that that's something where we know the minutes are stable. We know that he's going to play about 10, maybe 11 minutes. Maybe he plays a little bit more, because these continue to be must-win games. But the floor is there for him to go out there, play 10, get a lot of looks. He's obviously the number 1 player in the offense. He's always going to get his shots up. So to get double digits, it's not really a hard ask to get Luka to go over 9.5 points.
So you mentioned Lively. Well, he's cutting into Gafford's minutes if he's out there more often, right? And it's clearly he's a catalyst to this Dallas team. So are we fading Gafford if we're backing Lively? What are we doing?
Yeah, I guess you could fade Gafford in a way. I'd prefer to honestly just back Lively. I think that there's still some opportunity there. 17.5 points plus rebounds is his stat line or his prop line for today. And you can get his double-double as high as like plus 320. So considering the fact that he's done that in 2 consecutive games and he's led the game in rebounds, and he's also led in rebounding chances. We've seen a pretty significant spike. I think there's some opportunity there to just back Lively, as opposed to, Gafford just maybe gets some shot luck and grabs a couple extra boards or gets a couple lobs. I'd rather just back Lively in this instance.
Delara, are you a Mets or a Yankees guy?
I'm a Yankees guy, so it's been a good baseball season.
So you're enjoying baseball season? Yeah.
For now, yeah.
Did you enjoy the weekend? Did you enjoy the weekend, though? Like the Yankees losing to the Red Sox, and a lot of people I know, Yankee people, were upset. See, like Raineri's still mad about it. Like it was one. They gave up 9 steals in a game. Delara, what was that?
I mean, sometimes it's just going to happen. But, I did enjoy Verdugo just absolutely piping that one to dead center for himself, in that first game back. So that was definitely nice for him and for the Yankees.
Yeah. And listen, when they find the ball Judge hit, they can keep it. All right, because good luck trying to figure out where that ball landed there in Boston. You guys will never be able to hit a ball that far. Outstanding stuff, Joe. As always, my friend. Listen, enjoy the games. Yankees will be back at it tomorrow. We'll be gluttonous again then. But until then, cash those tickets here tonight. In-game live, primetime, opening tip coming your way next here on the Grid.
Panthers minus 2.5 games, plus 330. Panthers 2+ goals in every game, plus 225.
It's going to take a monumental effort for them not to get 2 goals in a game. It's going to take what Bobrovsky did last night. It's going to take Skinner to do in Edmonton. They're not going to do it in Florida.
Game time decisions only on SportsGrid.
8 playoff games at home for Boston in Beantown. They are 6-2 straight up.
The wild card, I would say, in this game is not necessarily, what are we going to get out of Luka Doncic, Kyrie Irving, Brown, and certainly Tatum. It is Kristaps Porzingis to me, because we're not getting back a player that's like, hey, rotational guy. Like, remember when Derek Lively went down with an injury? He was playing well, but a young player, like a piece.
The early line, only on SportsGrid.
Your gut says Miami is going to win, and you should take the over. Your gut also said your NFT selfies would only go up in value. They didn't. But your head is on SportsGrid and knows the QB is in concussion protocol. The backup has a 45 QBR against the zone coverage. The New York D has the most sacks in the league. So yeah, trust your head. It's smarter to be on SportsGrid.
Garrett Cole is getting ready to come back too. I guess this. Look, they've played great without him, but you're not going to say to Garrett Cole, "Look, don't come back." I mean, it's a ridiculous conversation to have.
They're not going to take any unnecessary chances. And look, they're at the point where they have a lead. They certainly are going to make the playoffs, I would say, barring some sort of complete collapse. And that's all it takes.
Newswire, only on SportsGrid.
All right, welcome back in. Now that we've all done a wardrobe change here, it's good to see you again. In-game live, primetime here on the SportsGrid Network. Joe Raineri alongside the one and only Mr. Dave Sharapan. He, too, will do a number of wardrobe changes here tonight, depending on how this Game 5 is rolling here. We're a few minutes away. Porzingis, they keep, and the countdown to tip-off day is about 11, 12 minutes right now, but they keep on the broadcast referring to him, putting it up on the screen as available. Not coming, but just, not playing, not coming off the bench. Yeah. Available here. I smell a rat. He's not even breaking a sweat, by the way, in warm-ups here. So I wouldn't put all my eggs in the Porzingis basket here. I still think it's more motivational to have him out there with the crowd than it would be to have actually any impact on this game. What do you think?
I think you got to put him in uniform and make it look like he's going to play just to mess with the Mavs, if nothing else. The problem is you're messing with everyone else, especially, people that might be watching us or other networks going, is he playing or not? I don't think anybody knows. I don't think anybody really knows other than him and Missoula. And depending on game script, we'll see whether he plays or not. Now, if they start out and they're rolling and he don't need to play, I don't even think they run him out there. I personally don't think he's playing much at all, if at all. I would vote no. But again, I'm not a doctor. I'm here with you on the grid. And I don't know. We got to keep a close eye. We got to have the boys in the back scour and everything. And just, we'll know.
Are there prop numbers posted?
The first half. Is he come
in?
Are there
any props posted? Any props posted for him?
No.
No.
I looked at 2 books and there's nothing. But again, you know why though, Joe? We can't put them up. Like for the book, you can't put them up with numbers even adjusted, with 50% of playing time, which you have.
Right.
Because if he plays 1 minute and he's really not hurt or he's hurt or whatever, every under, they parlay him, they do all this other stuff. We don't need no problems. Like in the book, we're like,
right.
We don't need scandals. We don't need people, sniping.
They had no problem putting up Anunoby numbers in that last game of the Knicks. They had no problem posting that when the whole world knew he wasn't playing anyway. And then you threw him out there for 2 minutes, and it might have been the easiest under. Come on, books. It's the final NBA game possibly here. Throw us a bone, but that might have been one of the greatest no-brainer under prop bets in the history of the game, outside of whatever they were doing in Toronto there. But I would venture to say, don't get all excited with one Porzingis here tonight. I would, however, get excited if I'm holding a ticket for Jason Tatum, Holiday, or Brown as an MVP, because this game most likely decides it. Does it not here, Dave?
I think it decides everything. That's a nice thing to put on Holiday's number. That would be a major, major shock, even at 38-1, if that one got there. I think it's exactly in that order. Brown's the favorite, Tatum's next, and the only glimmer of hope for Dallas is if they win tonight and the Luka conversation starts again. He's the only one that can win it. Even if Kyrie puts up 50 tonight, that would be the only way where he would even get on the list. So, yep. Brown's money line is less than the Celtics to win the game. If you think he's the one and you think the Celtics are going to win, it's kind of a way to attack it. Do you think Tatum is live? I was on with Game Time Decisions with Kevin, and he still believes that Tatum is very live.
I am shocked Brown's number is that much. I really am here, because Tatum could have one of those games. I mean, what happens if Tatum drops 45 tonight, wins the game for him, and Brown is MIA? What?
He wins it.
Right? Recency bias here, people.
He wins
recency bias. I agree. Yeah. So maybe worth a shot. And if they don't win, I think he's even more alive if he has a decent game here. So may not be worth a flyer rather, with Tatum here tonight, because he's more than capable of having that kind of career-defining game in a championship spot. And at plus money, why not here? It's worth it. Tip-off moments away. Come back and join us. In-game live prime time here. The NBA Finals, Game 5 next.
minus 2.5 games, plus 330. Panthers 2+ goals in every game, plus 225.
It's going to take a monumental effort for them not to get 2 goals in a game. It's going to take what Bobrovsky did last night. It's going to take Skinner to do in Edmonton. They're not going to do it in Florida.
Game time decisions. Only on SportsGrid.
8 playoff games at home for Boston in Beantown. They are 6-2 straight up.
The wild card, I would say, in this game is not necessarily, well, what are we going to get out of Luka Doncic, Kyrie Irving, Brown, and certainly Tatum. It is Kristaps Porzingis to me, because we're not getting back a player that's like, hey, rotational guy. Like, remember when Derek Lively went down with an injury? He was playing well, but a young player, like a piece.
The early line. Only on SportsGrid.
Your gut says Miami is going to win, and you should take the over. Your gut also said your NFT selfies would only go up in value. They didn't. But your head is on SportsGrid and knows the QB is in concussion protocol. The backup has a 45 QBR against the zone coverage. The New York D has the most sacks in the league. So yeah, trust your head. It's smarter to be on SportsGrid.
Garrett Cole's getting ready to come back too. I guess this. Look, they've played great without him, but you're not going to say to Garrett Cole, "Look, don't come back." I mean, it's a ridiculous conversation to have.
They're not going to take any unnecessary chances. And look, they're at the point where they have a lead. They certainly are going to make the playoffs, I would say, barring some sort of complete collapse. And that's all it takes.
Newswire. Only on SportsGrid.
Something in my Adam's apple there. Welcome back in-game live primetime here on the SportsGrid Network. Raineri alongside Dave Sharapan as we are getting ready for the opening tip here. Dave, Game 5, Celtics taking on the Dallas Mavericks. So before it gets to the tip here, still 6.5, nothing crazy as far as the market goes. Still 10.5, 210.5 for the total. So we didn't get a whole lot of. Outside of that initial open at 7, it's been 6.5 pretty much the entire time. We saw the little push early on for the total. You know, usually the last couple of games at this point, we were either getting the total steamed up to 212, 212.5, and we're not seeing anything. So the market is pretty steadfast in what they think is going to happen. I still don't think this is a spot worth laying 6.5. I think if you're buying the Celtics, buy them. They win, they win. That's it. I don't think there's going to be any in between. I think they either win by 20 or they lose by a dozen, and we're going to a Game 6.
Wow.
One or the other.
The Wetzel play a couple games ago, and he said to actually stick with it, was to take each team to be down by 10 and win the game. He took, Boston, and he took Dallas. Each one of them down by 10 and win the game. One was plus 450, one was plus 550. All you had to do was get two, biggest leads of the game for each team to be 10, and you cashed. And it worked. It actually worked in Game 3. I believe it was Game 3 when we did it. So if you think there's going to be that big of swings, I think this is going to be a close game in the first half. I think we're going to have to really sweat back and forth. And I don't know. The first halves have been really good until they're not. And then even Delera was talking about it. These lulls, you've been talking about it. These 6-minute lulls where there's no scoring in an NBA game. Like, what the hell is happening right now? So I don't know if we get that. Boston has to shoot better at home than they did down in Dallas, Joe, don't they? Like, the 3 props are interesting to me tonight. Guys making threes. I think we get a few more. Maybe Derek White.
Who you think?
Something like that, right?
Yeah, well, there's a lot of guys on Derek White here tonight thinking this is the Derek White game. We still haven't had that game yet either, have we?
Right.
That one game where he gets involved. He has certainly had some shots in here, a lot of wide open threes, but he hasn't had the same impact. More defensively, I think, than offensively, which is understandable because, quite honestly, him and Holiday have done an amazing job on Kyrie. So could this be the game where he starts to feel it? And we all know about role players, right? I guess we got to bet Hauser at home, right? Yep. Why not? That guy always manages to figure out ways to make threes. But I would imagine that it's going to be a little bit more comfortable for him here. This is all about the comfort level of Boston. We will learn a little bit something early about this Boston team. Are they truly championship worthy, where it wasn't that they lost, Dave? It was, we're talking about a historic loss by a team, not just like a historic loss there. And that is never comforting to the market here. So I think the first half is vital for them. I think if it truly was just a blip on the radar, then there should be no reason this game is close at the break, right? Flip the switch, because that's what everyone seems to be betting.
Yeah,
unless
I don't know
there's some doubt.
I don't know about that switch. I'm not sure about flipping the switch. We'll have Zinno on later next hour. For those of you guys, and girls watching, Merrill will be on after that. We have action-packed next hour. We'll talk about it with him. Zinno said it, where the bench players do play better at home. Boston's bench tonight will be the story. We'll see between the guys like Hauser. I don't know. I think we obviously have to get a better game from Holiday. I mean, he's not a bench guy, but like Drew Holiday had a historically bad game, and he was as low as 10-1, 7-1 to win the MVP just before that a couple games ago. He had the best game he's ever had in the playoffs. So those numbers aren't changing, though. And you watch, I think what he does on the defensive end carries over to the offensive end. So I don't know. Again, we'll know early. I'm glad we're here to see it as far as that goes. Now, with all this going on, did you even look at the baseball? Because, like, the Giants and the Cubs just started. And you want to talk about a total that had me like, what? How can this total be this high? And so that was 0-0 tonight, right now. The other total that's coming up actually getting ready to start is Dodgers in Colorado. Saw this total and went, this can't be. Mookie Betts out, right? How do you fix that hole in the lineup? This screamed under to me today, Joe. I thought, I'll ask Raineri. He's one of the baseball guys we talked to. Any thought on that total?
Well, I believe you've got double-digit wins blowing straight out at Wrigley, right? Is that what? That's why we're looking at 10.5.
That's what everybody said.
But we also had that over the weekend where it was also 10.5, and I think it was, a 2-1 Cardinals game. So the fact that they can't get the ball up in the air, it's not going to really matter one way or the other there. But, you got Assad on the mound who's been iffy, and you've got Hicks going for San Francisco, who has been better in San Francisco than he's been on the road here. But so far, so good. I mean, nothing, a bit of a pitcher's battle, but we'll see what happens once they get through the second time in the order. And there is no way you can convince me not to back Cal Quantrill early against James Paxton. So you want a dog for tonight, back Colorado and Quantrill early. Paxton is a gas can waiting to be lit up. Yeah, first five. It might still be plus money, but it was plus 125 earlier. I think it was down to plus 105. So we're not the only ones looking at it that way, but he has been phenomenal. Paxton, even though they've won games for him, I mean, how many more injuries are you going to go through the Dodgers before maybe it starts to trickle down here a little bit? No Mookie Betts now. Right. I mean, it's like, come on, there's only so much you can do. In Colorado, though, kind of feels like an over is possible in this game, but I think it's all going to happen later on. I think once that bullpen gets in for Colorado is maybe when we start to see the fireworks for the Dodgers here.
Yes.
But I can't back Paxton early in this game here. I wouldn't be shocked if they're down 5-0 in the third, because that kind of feels like the direction we're going to head in that one there.
Yeah.
And there's a pitching change, by the way, with the Angels. So anybody that had Soriano, it's no longer Soriano. It's Plesac is now in for Soriano.
Thank you. Good to know. First basket of the game is tipped. It's Drew Holiday. If you had Drew Holiday to score the first basket of the game, he did a little layup in the middle. It's 2-0. Celtics minute in. What are you looking for, Joe, in the first half here, or the first quarter? I'm looking for the Celtics to make threes. If they're making threes, we can start planning the duck boat parade. Foster can come on after the game. We'll do a segment. We'll have him talk. We'll get all the Boston Celtics fans. It'll be great.
Yeah, because they've done a great job of doing that so far in these 4 games. This is the problem we're going to have here. If they're not, and this is the problem with Boston in general. Live by the 3, die by the 3. What if they're not falling, Dave? That's the problem. So if they're not falling, what's your second pitch, Boston? I guess we're going to find out because they haven't hit one yet. So we'll keep an eye on it. In-game live primetime continues here on the grid.
Panthers minus 2.5 games, plus 330. Panthers 2+ goals in every game, plus 225.
It's going to take a monumental effort for them not to get 2 goals in a game. It's going to take what Bobrovsky did last night. It's going to take Skinner to do in Edmonton. They're not going to do it in Florida.
Game time decisions. Only on SportsGrid.
8 playoff games at home for Boston in Beantown. They are 6-2 straight up.
The wild card, I would say, in this game is not necessarily, well, what are we going to get out of Luka Doncic, Kyrie Irving, Brown, and certainly Tatum. It is Kristaps Porzingis to me, because we're not getting back a player that's like, hey, rotational guy. Like, remember when Derek Lively went down with the injury? He was playing well, but a young player, like a piece.
The early line. Only on SportsGrid.
Your gut says Miami is going to win, and you should take the over. Your gut also said your NFT selfies would only go up in value. They didn't. But your head is on SportsGrid and knows the QB is in concussion protocol. The backup has a 45 QBR against the zone coverage. The New York D has the most sacks in the league. So yeah, trust your head. It's smarter to be on SportsGrid.
Garrett Cole's getting ready to come back too. I guess this. Look, they've played great without him, but you're not going to say to Garrett Cole, "Look, don't come back." I mean, it's a ridiculous conversation to have.
They're not going to take any unnecessary chances. And look, they're at the point where they have a lead. They certainly are going to make the playoffs, I would say, barring some sort of complete collapse. And that's all it takes.
Newswire. Only on SportsGrid.
All right, welcome back in-game live primetime here on the SportsGrid Network. Game 5 of the NBA Finals underway right now. 6-2 Celtics in front of the Mavericks here. About 8 minutes to go. So not an awful lot of, shall we say, three-point bombs. Not a lot of pace. A lot of half-court sets. But a whole lot of defense from what I'm seeing here, Dave, which, again, these are 2 elite defensive teams here. They do it different ways, but they have certainly shown an ability to be able to step up here, and that's exactly it shouldn't be shocking, right? Elimination games, Dave, I think 13-3 to the under. They average about 190 points when the total is less than the previous game. The previous game's total was what? 211.5, 212.5. So this one was a lower, and it makes sense. Elimination games, you're going to get a lot more defense. Teams are trying to close out. They're trying to be a little bit more careful. It's and that's exactly what this kind of looks like two teams in a spot where one team is trying to win a championship, the other team is just trying to hold on. A lot of desperation here, and not a lot of whistles, by the way.
A lot of desperation, and it's 6-2. Drew Holiday has all 6 points. So if you had his prop over 13.5, you got to feel pretty good that 4 minutes in, he has all the points for the Celtics. I'm just surprised right now. I feel like it's a beginning of a fight. Like, I don't know if you saw the Tank fight against Martin on Saturday night. Stayed up and watched it. It was here in Vegas, so I wasn't really staying up. Pharrell was out here, went down and saw him, did the whole press row and all that stuff. But the first 3 rounds was all like just feeling each other out. I can't believe this feels like a game 1 where they don't know each other rather than a game 5 where they played each other all these times. And there's Horford finally wide open, knocking down a 3. So someone else has finally scored for the Celtics. And there's a timeout on the court. That place is rocking. There's green everywhere. I don't know. The Mavericks better slow it down. And I think they got to go inside. There's no Porzingis in there. They got to go inside, try to get to the free throw line. They're settling for pull-up, fade-away, mid-range to long-distance threes. This has not been a good start for the Mavericks. Good start for the Celtics. And the under. What's the total right now, Joe? Total's down to 201.5.
Yeah, that's
201.5. Who thought it was
elimination games?
Woo!
The elimination games are often. I mean, if you're averaging over the last decade elimination games 190 points, all of that makes sense. And especially with a team who was up 3-0 coming off a blowout loss. The Celtics, for all of the three-point shooting, the reality is they won a lot of games because they shut down the other team. And that's how they won the first 3 games here. They shut down the Mavericks, and that's exactly what they're doing. Luka's only got – how many shots does Luka have in this game here? Through the first 5 minutes. He is a guy that I haven't seen him get a good look yet, in fact. But P.J. Washington – 0 for 3. So Derek Jones Jr. is the one that gave you the 2 points, the 1 bucket. P.J. Washington, 3 rebounds. That's it. But you notice outside of Holiday, not a lot of whistles. So it would appear, Dave, especially if we're not going to get a lot of trips to the free throw line, this thing is a dead under here tonight.
Yep. So the boys got a graphic sitting there to bring up about the most made threes. And wow, look at those numbers. Are you kidding me? Derek White minus 23 to 1. Got to put up 23 to win 1. So that must be a done deal. And it's not Luka's night. So I'm glad I don't have him in that spot. Tatum, again, playing for, Boston to clinch the series at home, playing for the MVP, all that other stuff. I mean, he doesn't have any threes yet either. There's one 3 made. It's Al Horford, but he's the only one that attempted it. No, Brown has 2 attempts, Horford 1. That's it. So, wow. Here we go. I'm feeling pretty good wearing the green right now. I'm feeling pretty good wearing the Celtics stuff.
Well, it looks like they just, in this break, they are bringing Lively in finally. So Gafford did start, but nothing to report there. So right now they did go to the bench. So it's P.J. Washington, Lively, Doncic. Green is now in with Kyrie. So this will be our first shot at Derek Lively to see what kind of impact he can have because not great right now with what we have seen from this offense with Dallas early, and it does look like Luka finally getting back involved here, makes a pull-up two-pointer, and it's 9-4, 7 minutes to go in this one. And I do think this is what it's going to be. A game of runs. And what kind of run are we going to get from Dallas? What kind of run are we going to get from Boston? But I'm really interested to see, now that Lively's on the court, what kind of influence does he have? Because he didn't start. It was Gafford again. And they only had 2 points here, Dave. But it looks like they got a few more points now with Lively on the court as he's been subbed in.
Yep. And I don't know. This is what they have to do, right? I think that everything worked right in Game 4 for the Mavericks. They got to try different things, especially in Boston. So get guys in sooner, change the rotations a little bit, all that other stuff. I mean, you're down 3 games to 1. You got to try something. So good for them. Get the free throw line.
So hard.
There's no Porzingis. Get to the free throw line. That's what you got to do.
Yeah, Luka finally got one to the free throw line there on an N1. So, I don't know that we're going to get a lot. I think they're going to let these guys decide it here tonight. So which team can be more physical? Oh, boy, this should be interesting. 10-5 right now is what we got with 6.5 minutes to go. More from Game 5, the NBA Finals, Boston, Dallas. Come on back and join us in Game Live, Primetime.
Panthers minus 2.5 games, plus 330. Panthers 2+ goals in every game, plus 225.
It's going to take a monumental effort for them not to get 2 goals in a game. It's going to take what Bobrovsky did last night. It's going to take Skinner to do in Edmonton. They're not going to do it in Florida.
Game time decisions, only on SportsGrid.
8 playoff games at home for Boston in Beantown. They are 6-2 straight up.
The wild card, I would say, in this game is not necessarily, well, what are we going to get out of Luka Doncic, Kyrie Irving, Brown, and certainly Tatum. It is Kristaps Porzingis to me, because we're not getting back a player that's like, hey, rotational guy. Like, remember when Derek Lively went down with an injury? He was playing well, but a young player, like a piece.
The early line, only on SportsGrid.
Your gut says Miami is going to win, and you should take the over. Your gut also said your NFT selfies would only go up in value. They didn't. But your head is on SportsGrid and knows the QB is in concussion protocol. The backup has a 45 QBR against the zone coverage. The New York D has the most sacks in the league. So yeah, trust your head. It's smarter to be on SportsGrid.
Garrett Cole's getting ready to come back too. I guess this. Look, they've played great without him, but you're not going to say to Garrett Cole, "Look, don't come back." I mean, it's a ridiculous conversation to have.
They're not going to take any unnecessary chances. And look, they're at the point where they have a lead. They certainly are going to make the playoffs, I would say, barring some sort of complete collapse. And that's all it takes.
Newswire, only on SportsGrid.
All right, welcome back in-game live primetime here on the SportsGrid Network. 16-11 right now. Celtics and Mavs, about 4.5 minutes to go in the first quarter. A real big back and forth going on right now. A lot of defense, a lot of lot of half-court shots, not a big up and down. Anybody that thought maybe we'd get a little bit more pace like we saw in the last game, not so much here. Very they're being very selective as well, Dave, on what they're trying to set up, trying to make the extra pass. Porzingis, by the way, is in for the Celtics and just bricked one. But I'm watching him. You seeing him, Dave? Because it's not exactly the most fluid-looking dude on the court here. So, but he is in, and it is a 16-13. Still, what is the total in this game, Dave? I'm wondering, are we still trending around the 200 mark here? 203, maybe 203 and a half, I think 6.5. So nothing has really moved here outside of the total.
Yeah, 203 and a half,
Yes.
204 and a half. I think there's a real apprehension it got down quick to move it down, and you don't want to move it back up because you know that stretch is coming that you've talked about. We've been on here talking about pretty much all series, that 4, 5, 6 minute lull of no baskets or multiple misses and, maybe a dunk here or there, which I just saw Dallas get a dunk. Okay. Yeah. So you don't want to, even if you go basket, Boston scores, Dallas scores, Boston scores on multiple, 3 straight possessions. You don't really want to move the total that much. You kind of let it settle in at this number. I'd have argued that this should have been the number before the game, Joe. We talked about it.
I'm with you.
We could have made this thing 205 to start and been okay with all over bets going up. So I think we got to the number we wanted as far as the book goes. And for you guys watching, man, just wait. I think you can wait if you want to bet over. You're going to get if this continues. And not that I'm saying Porzingis is a big of a factor, but if he's going to play on a court, stay in the middle there, keep Dallas away from the rim, we're going to see 200 and a half, maybe even 199 and a half very soon. So that'll be your opportunity to go. Dodgers have a run already in the top of the first. That game, right? Just get Paxton. Look out.
Well, it's even worse in Atlanta right now, and how the Braves in the top of the 6th are losing 1-0 to Detroit with Fried on the mound is just, it's head scratching with this team, given the fact they're coming out of a weekend against the Tampa Bay Rays, Dave, in which there were close to 30 runs scored in 3 games. I mean, both teams were mashing the ball. Both teams were scoring runs finally, and now you got your best pitcher on the mound again going up against, mediocre pitching with the Tigers. And what do we got? Oh, look at that. Olsen has literally given up 3 touchdowns in the last 3 games here worth of runs. He has been absolutely lit up by everybody, and he goes on the road in Atlanta, and Atlanta can't score a run for Max Fried. And it's not like I think he needs a lot of runs either. But I mean, what do you do? What do you do in Atlanta if you can't score runs with Max Fried on the mound? You are definitely going to be in trouble. The Mets exploded on the Rangers too, by the way, 7-0 in the 3rd inning of that one. There, still no score. Giants Cubs. We do have the Brewers and Angels coming up. 9:30, and again, that's going to be a slight pitching change with Soriano being swapped out for Plesac for the Angels. Rodriguez, bullpen day there for the Milwaukee Brewers, and the number has actually flipped, Dave. So it looks like -125, -130 for the Brewers. Total still hovering around 8.5. It hasn't switched up much. And Miami is just tied up the Cardinals. Any particular reason we should jump in on this game here? It's 4-4 now. Ooh.
What we have to sweat when we get to the next hour here is the Skeens prop. Skeens has 7Ks. It was 7.5. Some places 8.5. He's pitched 6 innings. He's given up 1 earned run, 1 walk. We got to sweat this out.
I got it. Now I got to turn the worst thing possible. I have to turn on the Miami Cardinals game now. This is awful here. In-game live primetime continues on the grid.
minus 2.5 games, plus 330. Panthers 2+ goals in every game, plus 225.
It's going to take a monumental effort for them not to get 2 goals in a game. It's going to take what Bobrovsky did last night. It's going to take Skinner to do in Edmonton. They're not going to do it in Florida.
Game time decisions. Only on SportsGrid.
8 playoff games at home for Boston in Beantown. They are 6-2 straight up.
The wild card, I would say, in this game is not necessarily, well, what are we going to get out of Luka Doncic, Kyrie Irving, Brown, and certainly Tatum. It is Kristaps Porzingis to me, because we're not getting back a player that's like, hey, rotational guy. Like, remember when Derek Lively went down with an injury? He was playing well, but a young player, like a piece.
The early line. Only on SportsGrid.
Your gut says Miami is going to win, and you should take the over. Your gut also said your NFT selfies would only go up in value. They didn't. But your head is on SportsGrid and knows the QB is in concussion protocol. The backup has a 45 QBR against the zone coverage. The New York D has the most sacks in the league. So yeah, trust your head. It's smarter to be on SportsGrid.
Garrett Cole's getting ready to come back too. I guess this. Look, they've played great without him, but you're not going to say to Garrett Cole, "Look, don't come back." I mean, it's a ridiculous conversation to have.
They're not going to take any unnecessary chances. And look, they're at the point where they have a lead. They certainly are going to make the playoffs, I would say, barring some sort of complete collapse. And that's all it takes.
Newswire. Only on SportsGrid.
All right, welcome back in here. Another hour in-game live prime time here on the SportsGrid Network. Game 5 of the NBA Finals off and running right now. And Dante Exum making a 3-point jump shot for Dallas. And guess what? He has now gone over his total point prop at 2.5. So congratulations, Dante Exum. That was a very popular prop here. And I didn't understand Jason Kidd all week long talking about why I really got to find ways to get him more minutes. Well, who do you got to ask, Jason Kidd? I'm just curious. Is there where do you got to run that up through in order to put him on the court, since he only seems to be the one on the bench that wants to make some shots here? But scoring is picked up here a little bit as they are getting ready to close out the first quarter here, Dave. About 60 seconds left. 24-18. Finally, the Celtics getting some points here. And did you know, it looks like they started picking up the pace here a little bit. And there's Sam Hauser's first three-pointer of the game, now making it 26-18. So 49 seconds left to go. Pretty much what you thought we were going to get to this point here, Dave?
Yeah, for the most part. Started a little slow, and we did see Porzingis, and he looks okay to me. You know, all this talk about this, I don't know, being unable to play completely. I don't know.
Yeah.
Correct scores back
turnover.
in play. The NBA final correct score, Boston 4-1.
Yep.
Absolutely very much in play. One of the props you talked about going over, one prop that didn't go over? Paul Skeen's Day. The K prop. Again, the book said it's 7.5. Some books said, you know what, you guys want to bet this? It's at home against Cincy. Sure. We'll put it 8.5.
Yeah.
Pitches 6 innings, comes out of the game. Thanks to Vincenzo. They said Chapman's in, and he leaves the game with 7 Ks, Joe.
Oh.
That's another one of those ones where you're just like, lost by a hook again. That's tough.
But that game does go I think every one of his games has gone over, hasn't it? When Skeens has pitched, I don't believe we've had a.
No, we had the last game he pitched against the Cardinals. The opposing pitcher had a really good game too. The game went way under. It was a 2-1 final.
Yes, that was the last one, right? Yeah, Mikolas.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah. So
Interesting.
yeah, that game went under. And tonight, I mean, it's 4-1, top of 7. So, and while we were on the break, what the hell happened? The Cardinals let the Marlins hit a 3-run homer. That's 4-4.
Terrible.
In the top of the ninth. Might be time to bet the Cardinals right now in game. Take a stab at that. They
I don't hate
score,
it.
you're good.
Yep.
They don't, we go to extras and they get to hit first. So now might be a time to jump in on them. That's all I see.
I don't
right
hate that
now,
at
Jim.
all, actually.
Yeah.
Tell you
It's
the
not
truth.
a bad move.
I don't hate that
Not
at
a bad
all.
move.
No.
Yeah.
Bullpens are in, and Miami, if it wasn't for the 3-run homer, would not be winning this game or even close to winning this game at this particular point. So I would definitely look at that, Dave. I don't hate that. It's only been, I mean, Romero for St. Louis. So they used, Gray was in for 7 2/3, only gave up 5 hits, 2 earned runs, struck out 4, only walked 2. They're emptying the bullpen right now in Miami. I think they've already had 5 pitchers in this game here. So top of the ninth, if they can itch one out, they still have their high-end leverage relievers for St. Louis available to them. So it's in a good spot maybe to hop on board with them. We are at the end of the first, by the way. So a late run by Boston, absolutely sloppy disgustingness by Doncic and Dallas, turning the ball over what looked like 3 times in the final minute and a half there, resulting in easy buckets for Boston. And that's why we're at 28-18. Exactly what Dallas could not do. That's exactly what Dallas did. Gave the Celtics a little momentum and some free buckets and free points on turnovers. So what are we going to get now? 28-18, 201.5 is the total here, Dave. When are we jumping in on the over?
Probably right after it goes under 200. We get a probably
Which
first
will be
minute,
quick.
second minute will go down.
Yeah.
I got to ask you though. We got a little bit of time. Did you see the golf over the weekend? Were you paying any attention to Sunday and the Bryson DeChambeau and what he did and Rory missing those short putts? Raineri, we've never played golf together, but I've heard about your abilities, and hopefully when you come out in August, we'll get a round in together. Would you have made those putts?
Oh,
I think you'd have made those putts.
I would absolutely have not made those putts. I don't know what you're referring to. I am every bit of a 35 handicap. I have.
I was misinformed about the number.
Oh yeah, no, awful golfer. But I am available if you want to play. We do have, absolutely. We can work that out. As long as you give me strokes, we're good there. But no, we were on. Scotty and I were on InGame Live yesterday. We had the chance to cover that, and it was kind of epic. The meltdown that was happening before our eyes there with Rory. He did eventually release today, in fact, a post on Twitter because he didn't stay around to answer any questions. He was out of there rather quickly, but he did post something on Twitter today talking about what a rough day it was, congratulating Bryson, yada, yada, yada. But the big question was whether or not he was going to play this week at the Travelers, which is another one of these elevated tournaments on tour. Much more money, only the best players in the world. But it sounds like he'll be out of sight, out of mind for about the next month. He won't be back until the Scottish Open, which is about a month from now, he said. He's just going to take some time away to kind of settle in. I mean, listen, dude, 17 years you've been on tour. You haven't won a major in a decade. This should not be news to you. Like, I don't understand. What are you taking away? It's not like you're the reigning U.S. Open champion 4 years in a row and like this one hurts. Like, dude, you got to be used to it at this particular point. But it really wasn't his putter, Dave, as much as it was. I thought his irons were terrible. But give credit to Bryson. A lot of guys would have melted with that bunker shot. I would have melted there and not. It wouldn't have mattered what Rory did. So is Bryson the next face of oh, that's right. He's on the LIV Tour. He's not even on the PGA Tour.
Yeah.
Oh,
Well,
that's got to burn them. Oh, that's got to burn them. Something fierce.
He's coming back with a vengeance. I can tell you that. That was a big win. The other thing I wanted to mention that I saw on the list of things to talk about between, in the second quarter just got underway was T. Higgins signed a tender with the Bengals. Is that a big deal? Like that's the division is arguably the best division in football. And I'm not just saying that because it's nighttime in Pittsburgh behind me, but we got Ravens, we got Steelers, we got Bengals and Browns. All season win totals are high. Division, the Ravens are probably a little better than everybody else. But T. Higgins signing today with the Bengals. That hit the radar for you at all?
What choice does he have? They tagged him. So what he's got to sign. Otherwise, he's going to lose out on the money. But they also said the caveat is there's no long-term deal in sight. So this is unfortunately got to play out where the sooner we get to camp and the sooner we get, they don't sound very, how can you afford them? That's going to be the big question. You already paid Burrow. You paid Chase. How else are you got Hendrickson on the defense?
Burrow
How are you going to afford him?
Right.
All the cash. So what did they think was going to be left over for him? Somebody had to be odd man out. Ultimately, I think we know who it is. Oh, I know. You can probably throw better than Burrow. At least you can stay healthy.
Panthers minus 2.5 games, plus 330. Panthers 2+ goals in every game, plus 225.
It's going to take a monumental effort for them not to get 2 goals in a game. It's going to take what Bobrovsky did last night. It's going to take Skinner to do in Edmonton. They're not going to do it in Florida.
Game time decisions. Only on SportsGrid.
8 playoff games at home for Boston in Beantown. They are 6-2 straight up.
The wild card, I would say, in this game is not necessarily, what are we going to get out of Luka Doncic, Kyrie Irving, Brown, and certainly Tatum. It is Kristaps Porzingis to me, because we're not getting back a player that's like, hey, rotational guy. Like, remember when Derek Lively went down with an injury? He was playing well, but a young player, like a piece.
The early line. Only on SportsGrid.
Your gut says Miami is going to win, and you should take the over. Your gut also said your NFT selfies would only go up in value. They didn't. But your head is on SportsGrid and knows the QB is in concussion protocol. The backup has a 45 QBR against the zone coverage. The New York D has the most sacks in the league. So yeah, trust your head. It's smarter to be on SportsGrid.
Garrett Cole is getting ready to come back too. I guess look, they've played great without him, but you're not going to say to Garrett Cole, look, don't come back. I mean, it's a ridiculous conversation to have.
They're not going to take any unnecessary chances. And look, they're at the point where they have a lead. They certainly are going to make the playoffs, I would say, barring some sort of complete collapse. And that's all it takes.
Newswire. Only on SportsGrid.
All right, welcome back InGame Live, and we are PrimeTime here on the SportsGrid Network as we are about 8 minutes away from the half here, second quarter in the NBA Finals, game number 5. It is a 41-30 Celtics lead, 11 points right now in front for the Celtics as it's been tough sledding for both sides here. We've got a couple of whistles being blown now, so some of the penalties we weren't getting early in this game, or some of the whistles, they are being blown now here. So free throws are coming but it's still an 11-point lead for the Celtics, and they're about to be a 13-point lead as we welcome in Mark Zinno in the house here as Boston continuing to take advantage of the sloppy pay at Dallas. Zin, what did you think we were going to get here in this game? How did you approach it?
It's a loaded question. Everything I think that happens, the exact opposite does. So I don't know what to tell you. What did we think was going to happen? Well, I thought that Dallas would actually score. I thought that Dallas would actually put up points. And, lo and behold, of course they didn't put up any freaking points. Look, Boston is kind of holding up there at the bargain here. It started out very slow. I mean, it was 15 points combined the first 6 minutes of the first quarter. I was kind of throwing up in my hands watching that whole thing, but it sort of picked up here a little bit. I mean, Boston's numbers look good. 51% from the field, almost 43% from beyond three-point line. They're fine. Dallas sucks. I mean, I did this to myself multiple times in this series, and I kept yelling at myself after the fact. Like, why didn't you just trust the fact that Boston is leaps and bounds better than Dallas and just know that Dallas has no chance in this series? I mean, here's what's going to happen, though. This is the funny part. I can't wait for this. Because the Boston Celtics have scored 21, 22, 21, and 24 points in the fourth quarter of all four games here. I can't wait for this thing to be sitting around, like I need Boston to have like a 25-point fourth quarter, and of course they have like a 21, and the thing goes under by 2 points. Like I can't wait for that to happen.
Right.
If that's exactly how it's going.
Relax. It's early. Don't. Let's just think differently. It's going to be fine, Zin. Everything's going to be fine.
You, my mother, my therapist, you all like think differently. I don't know how to think differently. Okay, I knew how to think differently. We're having a different conversation.
I get it. That's fine. We talked about the MVP before the game.
Yeah.
Is it Browns to lose? I mean, Tatum's having a pretty, this is a decent start.
I said all morning long, Joe knows this. I said, if Tatum goes out and drops 40 tonight, he's winning the MVP. Like, I still think those kind of odds at 220 to me, plus 220, were kind of insane. And he's had some big games and big moments. He just dropped another bucket in here. He's now in double figures. So if he goes out and has a big night, 35, 38, 40 points, and Boston wins this thing, did it really convince you that Tatum was the better player in this series? I mean, we've kind of fallen into this narrative that Tatum all of a sudden is like, yesterday's news. Second best player on the court, from my opinion.
Yep.
And at that price, it didn't make any sense. But we still need. I mean, right now, Dallas's problem is Kyrie 5 points, Doncic 5 points. That's not going to get it done here. 7 minutes to go. They got to figure out a way to get some stops. Would be fantastic as well. What was the team total for Dallas? 102, 101, somewhere in that ballpark there?
101.5. And I'm sitting here going, look, we've had so many sort of anomalies. We had 4 different anomalies in these first 4 games while they all went under. First of all, we had 2 blowouts, right? One by Boston, one by Dallas in games 1 and games 4. Game 2, Boston shot its second worst 3-point field goal percentage of the entire season. That includes all 82 regular season games. And they stayed under, and the total stayed under. And in game 3, Boston had 91 points with 11:08 left and proceeded to go scoreless for 8 minutes, and the game stayed under. So, like these freak things keep happening that you just don't normally see in a game as to why the team total stayed under and, the game total stayed under. I thought, what 211.5 in game 4 was the bottom of the market. Of course, we get a game 5, we get a little bit lower to the bottom of the market. So I played the over because at some point in time, I figured these abnormalities had to sort of work themselves out. Like general laws of probability would say, are we going to get 5 straight unders? I guess we are. But, that wasn't on my bingo card.
Yeah. All right.
Yeah.
This might not have been on your bingo card either, Zin. Last night, I'm sure you and Drew doing in-game live?
Yeah.
Okay. So, and I know you're a Yankee fan.
You're going to get me upset.
How in the hell do they give up? You want to talk about an abnormality? I can't even say the word. They gave up 9 stolen bases in one game. How in the hell does that happen?
A catch with a rag arm that's as good as my sister's, and a manager who doesn't really understand how to pivot in the middle of a game instead of letting these guys run all over the place. Look, what pissed me off about that game, we got a favorable number first 5, and the total was 5, and I took the – they're going into the 5th inning, the bottom of the 5th, and it's a 3-1 game, and I'm sitting there going, okay, all right, I have a shot here. And I said to Drew, I said, if he brings out Stroman for the 5th inning, I'm dead. And, of course, what did he do? Brings out Stroman for the 5th inning. What happens to the very first batter, Dave? Walkaroo, walks the first batter, steals second, steals third, walks the next batter, first and third, sack fly. I mean, it was just – and I'm sitting here going, how long does this idiot have to watch Stroman pitch to know he doesn't have it? Like he does – saving the bullpen for the Orioles series. You got a day off tomorrow. Manage your damn game to win it. This is why Aaron Boone sucks, and he'll never win a World Series, and Yankee fans hate him, and we all know they're not going to win with him at the helm, period. That was a microcosm of why the Yankees won't win in October, because that dude couldn't look at a pitcher and go, he sucks tonight. Get him out.
Good news is Cole is pitching on Wednesday. So there you go. He is back. Yeah, he is back for the Yankees, but Boone will figure out a way to screw that up as well. Vin, I want to get your thoughts on Atlanta. I think they finally scored a run. We'll talk about it. In-game live, primetime continues on the grid.
Panthers minus 2.5 games, plus 330. Panthers 2+ goals in every game, plus 225.
It's going to take a monumental effort for them not to get 2 goals in a game. It's going to take what Bobrovsky did last night. It's going to take Skinner to do in Edmonton. They're not going to do it in Florida.
Game time decisions only on SportsGrid.
8 playoff games at home for Boston in Beantown. They are 6-2 straight up.
The wild card, I would say, in this game is not necessarily, well, what are we going to get out of Luka Doncic, Kyrie Irving, Brown, and certainly Tatum. It is Kristaps Porzingis to me, because we're not getting back a player that's like, hey, rotational guy. Like, remember when Derek Lively went down with an injury? He was playing well, but a young player, like a piece.
The early line, only on SportsGrid.
Your gut says Miami is going to win, and you should take the over. Your gut also said your NFT selfies would only go up in value. They didn't. But your head is on SportsGrid and knows the QB is in concussion protocol. The backup has a 45 QBR against the zone coverage. The New York D has the most sacks in the league. So yeah, trust your head. It's smarter to be on SportsGrid.
Garrett Cole's getting ready to come back too. I guess this. Look, they've played great without him, but you're not going to say to Garrett Cole, "Look, don't come back." I mean, it's a ridiculous conversation to have.
They're not going to take any unnecessary chances. And look, they're at the point where they have a lead. They certainly are going to make the playoffs, I would say, barring some sort of complete collapse. And that's all it takes.
Newswire, only on SportsGrid.
Yep. All right, welcome back in as we got a little bit of a run happening here for Dallas, trying to cut back into the lead. 20-17 in the second quarter. That is what the Celtics are on a run of. 48-35 right now is the score there. Mark Zinno here with us. Zin, talk to me about Atlanta here. I'm scratching my head. All these runs they scored. Even with Tampa, even Tampa was scoring runs in Atlanta over the weekend. And then they get Detroit and Olsen, and they have one run in the 8th inning with Max Fried on there. So please explain to me what in the world is Atlanta doing? And are they going to lose this game tonight to Detroit at home?
Sure as hell feels like it. I mean, you can do Bob Uecker in Major League. That's all we got, one blank hit. You know what I'm saying? Like, that's what it feels like.
Yep.
Every time, one darn hit. I mean,
unreal.
There is no explanation for it. Like, they scored 22 runs over the weekend in 3 games against the Rays, and you come out tonight, you got 1 run on 6 hits. Now, granted, Olsen is a good pitcher, and Detroit is a good bullpen, but you're home, and you're supposed to be winning these games. Like, if you want to turn the corner and try to catch Philadelphia, by the way, they play Philadelphia the weekend right after July 4th. July 4th on a Thursday, the 5th, 6th, and 7th. They got a 3-game series against Philly. Now is the time where you want to take that 8-game lead and sort of cut into it and make it, something manageable like 5 when you get to that series. So, hey, you take 2 out of 3, you chop another game off, you're at 4, maybe you get down to 2 by the All-Star break, and everything all of a sudden feels manageable. But if you can't score, then you can't win ball games. I mean, it's money ball. You shouldn't be trying to buy wins. You're trying to buy runs. Like, they bought runs, the Braves, and they're not getting any of them. It's a bad investment at this point.
Yep.
All right. Before we let you go, we got to go back to the basketball. And I know you're sweating this total out. Try to change your thinking and get you off, off this point. But Dallas just took the ball to the basket three possessions in a row and got layups all 3 times. Joe's saying during the break, this game's far from over. Zin, is this game far from over? I mean, are the Mavericks coming back? It's 48-39, just under 5 minutes ago in the second quarter. The Celtics covering the first half, yes. And are the Celtics winning this basketball game at the end of this game? Are we celebrating a championship tonight, yes or no?
I think they're winning it. Unless the Mavericks have a run similar to the one we saw 30 years ago in a white Ford Bronco, I don't know that they're getting back in this game. So,
yes,
it's 30 years ago today. Yeah, today was 30 years. Happy 30th, OJ. I mean,
yeah. Good news is they brought the Bronco back, so at least Ford's making the Bronco again. So that may be the best thing at all of that there. That Bronco was a sweet-looking truck back in the day. But listen,
I'm not a fan of it.
That was beautiful. 21-20 second quarter right now. Dallas has to win the second quarter. So then if Dallas can get this within single digits before the break, I think you're total safe. Because I think they're going to get at least 50 here, correct?
I mean, put it this way. Dallas has to get to 100 points. That's the key to this going over. Dallas has to get to 100 points. If they get held under 100 again, they're dead. This total won't go over unless Boston gets to 120 on their own. Like 120-90 is the only other way it goes. And if the lead is that big, guess what? It ain't happening that way. Because the pace will just die like it does and it has in every fourth quarter of this series.
Zin, where were you 30 years ago on this night when OJ was driving? I was in a bar in Pittsburgh watching it on a TV going, why aren't they pulling him over?
I was at home. I was at home with my parents. We were watching the Knicks because it was game 5 of the Knicks-Rockets.
Right.
And they kept cutting into the Knicks game to put this chase on. And I kept running and said, Mom, why aren't they just running up to him and arresting him? Like, just run the car off the damn road, put the game on.
Figure it out.
Yeah. So,
it was 30 years ago.
Unreal, right? I remember where I was when they announced the acquittal. I was in my college dorm and they announced the acquittal, and you could hear screams on the campus. Watching this thing,
I remember a buddy of mine had a shirt that said, if the glove don't fit, you must acquit. And it was just classic, just absolutely classic right there. Zin, outstanding. It is, in fact, a 9-point game right now, 4 minutes to go in the second. So plenty of basketball left to play here, man. And hopefully Atlanta up bottom of the 8th, they'll be able to score a run or a 2 or 3 or 3.5 and get us where we need to be. Zin, enjoy tonight here, my man. InGame Live Primetime continues next here on the Grid.
minus 2.5 games, plus 330. Panthers 2+ goals in every game, plus 225.
It's going to take a monumental effort for them not to get 2 goals in a game. It's going to take what Bobrovsky did last night. It's going to take Skinner to do in Edmonton. They're not going to do it in Florida.
Game time decisions. Only on SportsGrid.
8 playoff games at home for Boston in Beantown. They are 6-2 straight up.
The wild card, I would say, in this game is not necessarily, well, what are we going to get out of Luka Doncic, Kyrie Irving, Brown, and certainly Tatum. It is Kristaps Porzingis to me, because we're not getting back a player that's like, hey, rotational guy. Like, remember when Derek Lively went down with the injury? He was playing well, but a young player, like a piece.
The early line. Only on SportsGrid.
Your gut says Miami is going to win, and you should take the over. Your gut also said your NFT selfies would only go up in value. They didn't. But your head is on SportsGrid and knows the QB is in concussion protocol. The backup has a 45 QBR against the zone coverage. The New York D has the most sacks in the league. So yeah, trust your head. It's smarter to be on SportsGrid.
Garrett Cole is getting ready to come back too. I guess this. Look, they've played great without him, but you're not going to say to Garrett Cole, "Look, don't come back." I mean, it's a ridiculous conversation to have.
They're not going to take any unnecessary chances. And look, they're at the point where they have a lead. They certainly are going to make the playoffs, I would say, barring some sort of complete collapse. And that's all it takes.
Newswire. Only on SportsGrid.
All right, welcome back in. We got about 3 minutes left before the break here. Game 5 of the NBA Finals. Dallas 39, Boston 50. It has been quite the lull here in the second quarter. Both teams have gone about 5 minutes here, Dave. It's just been, they started out the second quarter on a house of fire. Both of these teams came out, especially the Celtics, carried over from the end of the first quarter into the second, and they were scoring in bunches, and now it's just stopped. It's 50-39, 3 minutes left to go, but your leading scorer for Dallas is Derrick Jones Jr. at 10 points. So that means the guys that you need to score aren't scoring. How they are not down by 20, Dave, is actually kind of amazing right now, with Doncic and Kyrie having 5 points each.
It's crazy. And it's one of those situations where, we'll talk about the hockey tomorrow in the Stanley Cup. But McDavid and Draisaitl not scoring for the Oilers really put them behind. They were getting secondary scoring, and they weren't winning games. And then everybody finally scored and showed up in Game 4. And, the Oilers are back, and we'll have all that to discuss tomorrow. We got a bunch of people, I guess, riled up with the OJ story and the Ford Bronco. We got this guy, Fred C., who follows us on the Twitter. He said to let you know that the Ford Broncos are back. And he actually posted a picture that I'm going to send you. He said they're back, baby. It's time. I told Fred I need one. I'm going to go meet Fred. Apparently he's got Ford Broncos available. We might need one of those, Joe. I've never ridden in one, to be honest. I don't know. Guess it would be not a bad deal to get one. The Celtics team total first half was 55.5. He got 52 with 2.5 minutes to go. Are they getting it?
I don't think that was ever in doubt. I mean, if you thought Boston was winning this game, then you had to think Boston was winning the first half, and they better get more than 55.5, 56.5 points in the first half. Otherwise, there was a problem. But even still, it feels like they should have 65 points on the board right now. And it's kind of amazing to me with both of these teams. The inefficiency that we've been seeing here is kind of nuts. It's a 26-24 second quarter run here for Boston. So they won the first quarter by 10. They're up 2 here. which is why we're at the 54-42. 2 minutes to go. I believe they're reviewing the fact that Derek Lively, has just run over the head of Derek White, and we'll have to see exactly what that leads to.
Court.
Yeah.
Oh,
that wasn't
man.
intentional, though. There was nothing intentional about that.
I don't think
I don't
so.
think.
I don't think. But man, that's a hard shot. Oh,
Yes.
wow.
It's
That's
brutal.
a hard shot. Yeah, he's going to.
But Jaylen Brown fouls it up with a 3, so now it's 57-42 here with under
total.
about a minute and a half to go here. But again, Dallas has scored 2 points in the last 2.5 minutes here. The long droughts of non-scoring is mind-blowing here in this one. In-game total, though, Dave, 212.5, so it has come back up here. 15.5 is what I am seeing. Which will be interesting until Derek White hits a 3. Now it's a 60-44 game. This is exactly what Dallas could not have happen, which is happening right now. So now you got to ask yourself, at what point does Dallas throw in the towel, and what does Boston do? Because that's going to be the determining factor on whether you're jumping in.
There's no throwing in the towel. It's a decider game. We're going to keep playing this out until we're not playing for the next game. We're playing for next season. I don't think
they're playing for a cruise because they're all going on one here.
No
shortly,
question.
Dallas.
No question. It's just a matter of time, and this will be good. That's why we got to pay attention to the baseball. The Phillies won 9-2. That's final. This is just a matter of now. So what happens, right, at a decider game that starts to turn into a 12-3 run in the last 3.5 minutes for the Celtics like this? Now we're extending.
Yep.
At least he says it all the time on the radio show. Extend, extend, extend. They're extending. 60-44. What does that say? 42 seconds left. 16-point lead, 15.5 in game. I don't know. I mean, this might not be time to jump in if you like Dallas. Maybe may get a couple more points. I think it's got to be closer to 20. I don't know. What are you going to say at halftime, boys? We got to start.
Kyrie just took out the entire broadcast team here. They took out everybody. Kyrie trying to save a ball from going out of bounds literally took out Breen and everybody else on the broadcast table there. So 61-44. It's not going well. But I would think Dallas still has an opportunity to come out. We've seen this in this series where Boston makes these big leads and then Dallas makes a run. And then it's not nearly as the final score doesn't truly tell the whole story of how dominant Boston was because the numbers aren't there. I mean, they've only won, 7 points, Dave? 7? Everything seven seems to be the common theme here with Boston winning games. So we're going to see whether or not this holds up. It closed at 6.5. But I would think if I'm Dallas, I'm still trying to get to 50 points before the break, Dave. Is that a fair number, as close to 50 as possible?
Yeah, it's a viable possibility. I got 64-46. Wow. I mean, this is 18-point lead at halftime. What is –
Yeah.
I knew it was going to be bad, but I didn't think it would be this bad. I don't know. Again, it's 16.5 in game. Total for overbettors is good. It's on pace for 214.5. So good for those guys that have that. Is
that a foul? That might be a foul. Yeah, that's the problem, right? Yeah, I think he did. Yeah, so now that's the problem here, right? What I'm saying to you, at what point at the end of the third quarter, if it's a 22-point lead, Boston's either going to take the air out of the ball and just crawl so Dallas doesn't have enough opportunities to get back into it, or Dallas comes
gas down. Gas pedal down.
I know. But there's no guarantee that happens either.
instead of 30 years ago where, they're setting the pace and, surrounding them going 45, I'll go get Fred C to get us a souped up Bronco. We're driving this thing. Look, it's go time. Celebration. Let's keep scoring. What are we taking our foot off the gas for? This is it. Let's blow them out. Let's give everybody a show. Tatum's got 16.
I can't
Brown's
believe
got
he just
15.
hit it again.
Holiday's got 11.
Pritchard just hit another end of the half buzzer three-pointer from section 302. That's
67,
twice now. He has done this in the series. Unbelievable. He threw it up. Unreal. He made another one from half court, Dave. This one was from half court, and he made it. Unbelievable. Yeah. That's when you know it's all but done here. So does Dallas fight in the third? Does it matter?
No. Bye-bye.
Unbelievable.
No.
Yeah.
Start planning for the parade.
67 points in the first half. Oh, Dallas, that's terrible.
Wow.
Everything that couldn't happen for the Mavericks just happened here in the first half. So, way to go, Dallas. You're your own worst enemy. And by the way, again, 20% from the free throw line for Dow. Really, maybe you ought to work on that in the offseason. Try to figure out how to make a free throw or two. That would really help as well. All right, in-game live, primetime comes back. We're at the break. We'll take a look at some of those in-game numbers next here on the grid.
Panthers minus 2.5 games, plus 330. Panthers 2+ goals in every game, plus 225.
It's going to take a monumental effort for them not to get 2 goals in a game. It's going to take what Bobrovsky did last night. It's going to take Skinner to do in Edmonton. They're not going to do it in Florida.
Game time decisions. Only on SportsGrid.
8 playoff games at home for Boston in Beantown. They are 6-2 straight up.
The wild card, I would say, in this game is not necessarily, well, what are we going to get out of Luka Doncic, Kyrie Irving, Brown, and certainly Tatum. It is Kristaps Porzingis to me, because we're not getting back a player that's like, hey, rotational guy. Like, remember when Derek Lively went down with an injury? He was playing well, but a young player, like a piece.
The early line. Only on SportsGrid.
Your gut says Miami is going to win, and you should take the over. Your gut also said your NFT selfies would only go up in value. They didn't. But your head is on SportsGrid and knows the QB is in concussion protocol. The backup has a 45 QBR against the zone coverage. The New York D has the most sacks in the league. So yeah, trust your head. It's smarter to be on SportsGrid.
Garrett Cole's getting ready to come back too. I guess this. Look, they've played great without him, but you're not going to say to Garrett Cole, "Look, don't come back." I mean, it's a ridiculous conversation to have.
They're not going to take any unnecessary chances. And look, they're at the point where they have a lead. They certainly are going to make the playoffs, I would say, barring some sort of complete collapse. And that's all it takes.
Newswire. Only on SportsGrid.
What you get. All right, welcome back in Game Live, prime time here. Game 5 of the NBA Finals here. 67-46. Another Pritchard half-court buzzer beater before time runs out has really just stuck a dagger into the Dallas Mavericks, but they were doing a pretty good job of that themselves here. We welcome in from Wager Talk our good friend Double R1L, Steve Merrill in the house. Merrill, hey, listen, great half for the Celtics. Everything that Dallas didn't want to happen has happened in the first half. So the question is, where do we go from here in the second half?
Well, first of all, talk about a bad beat. I had Dallas plus 20.5 for the first half. So that was a stinger there.
Oh, man.
No, not true. Fake news.
Oh.
Fake news. This was the quickest handicap of the season for me, guys. After Game 4 ended, I had Dallas in Game 4, so I was happy with that result. But after it ended, it took me about 2 seconds to load the Celtics Game 5 best bet for my clients at wagertalk.com. Strongest play of the season, as you know, was my Celtics playing Game 1, and unfortunately, they kept winning, so I wasn't able to come back with them off a loss until now. So nothing about this is surprising, and it's Dallas's fault because they just should not have won Game 4. They wouldn't have had to come back to get their butts kicked in Boston. The question becomes what you do at the half here. I mean, it's a 21-point game. Oh, Boston was up by 21 in Game 3, and it got cut to 1. For that reason, though, I don't think they take their foot off the gas this time. I know they have a tendency to do that, but at home with the crowd to clinch, it's Boston or pass from here on out.
I agree, sir. The debate becomes not whether they're going to win or not, but by how much, and then who's going to win the MVP. And we've had pretty good discussions back and forth. Do you feel strongly one way or the other? Brown and Tatum are separated by a point tonight. They're not separated by anything close on the odds. I mean, it's been Brown, and he's significant minus. Tatum, obviously the face of the franchise and a young guy and all that other stuff too. Any thoughts on MVP? It's one of those two. Holiday's a nice story, but he ain't winning it, Merrill. There's no way. Which one do you like to win the MVP tonight?
Yeah, it's funny, Dave. Porzingis gave himself a chance after Game 1. Holiday gave himself a chance after Game 2, but then he disappeared after that. So, yeah, he's off the radar now. These are two guys, both Brown and Tatum. I really think you can make an argument for both of them. It was Brown coming in that was, 65, 70% chance. So the last couple games, he'd have to regress a lot more than Tatum. They both regressed in Game 4, so that was kind of a push. It's close on points, but Tatum's got 9 assists. Brown only has 2. They each have 4 rebounds. If Tatum could get a triple-double, he's going to need a lot more rebounds. But if he could get that triple-double, maybe that would be the difference. Otherwise, it's probably going to be Brown.
So let's just talk about this for a second. Game 5 of the finals, Merrill. You have Luka and you have Kyrie, and the best guy on Dallas, the best shooter right now, is Green off the bench, who's made more threes than both of them combined. I think he's 3 for 3 for 3. This is just, where is there? I got to see something from Dallas in the second half, especially from Luka and Kyrie, because this is absolutely disgusting. You cannot have Green being your leading scorer at the break in Game 5 of the finals, Merrill. This it could be one of the worst scenarios for Luka and Kyrie's reputation after this, if this continues in this game.
Well, first of all, Jones Jr. is the leading scorer. He's got 10. Green's got 9. So you're right. Those are the top two guys. Doncic's got 9. Irving's got 5. Doncic has not made a 3 now for 2 straight games, I believe. I don't know if he made one in the last game even. And he just hasn't shot well. He's been shooting bad the whole playoffs. Remember, we talked about the first couple rounds, Joe. He was like in the low 20s, and everyone's like, oh, he's not healthy. He's hurt. And you pointed it out also. He gets the magical shots. He has great first halves, first quarters. That's another reason it'd be Boston or pass for him with any second half bets, because Doncic only has 9 points, and he's been regressing in the second half, especially the fourth quarters. In-game right now is 16.5. They're up by 21. I actually take Boston at that point. I mean, I know it's a huge lead, but I think they're going to pour it on here at home.
All right, Mr. Baseball Coach. Let's address something in baseball, because we got a 21-point basketball game, and I got to ask you while I got you. The Yankees played the Red Sox yesterday. The Red Sox are leading 7-3 tonight against Toronto, but they had 9 stolen bases in one game, Steve. As a coach, whether you're in the dugout, you're on the base paths or something, how does this happen in a Major League Baseball game, Steve? How do they get 9 stolen bases in one game?
So I'm not allowed to move my chair, otherwise I'd show you my neck. 4 hours of coaching first base yesterday, Dave. I've got a nice farmer's tan that'll last me the rest of the summer. And one thing I've been doing adamantly coaching first this year is teaching kids. I mean, my voice has gone from get a good secondary. I mean, base running is critical, and especially at lower levels, you can really steal games with it, no pun intended. Amazes me with the new pickoff rules and the new base running rules, why more teams aren't stealing. Because what you can only throw over twice, right? The third time you have to get the guy. I mean, they throw over once. That's like the green light. You get lead you could possibly have at that point. So I don't get why teams don't run more. And it's a great way to kind of pick up some wins, pick up some points and runs against a opponent.
I don't understand why they don't pitch out more. Like, half of these guys are running, Merrill. Why are we not getting more pitch outs? I mean, it's absolutely mind-blowing. You got to give the catcher a chance to throw them out, and these guys are almost like, well, I can't throw over. I'm more worried about throwing strikes. Pitch out and try to get them. I don't understand what they're doing here, but it might not make a difference to some of these teams like the Cubs who can't score regardless, whether they steal a base or not here. How are you approaching the Dodgers moving forward now with the injury news, with Mookie Betts? This seems like a team that's a lot of head scratching right now.
Yeah, so my son got his number 50 All-Star jersey tonight, and I saw that Mookie video earlier today. I think I might go buy him some padded batting gloves because I'm extremely nervous now. That was a tough injury to see. I feel bad for Mookie, one of my favorite players. And, we'll see. Maybe it's a catalyst. Acuna was out. The Braves won the World Series 3 years ago. They were, by the way, 4 games below 500 this time 3 years ago. They won it. They're 7 up now, the Braves.
Yep.
Love it.
Unreal. All right, Merrill. Always a pleasure. You can hang out if you want, or you can go get some aloe, mix it in, do what you want to do here. You got to get that farmer's tan going, brother. In-game live, primetime condensed.
Panthers minus 2.5 games, plus 330. Panthers 2+ goals in every game, plus 225.
It's going to take a monumental effort for them not to get 2 goals in a game. It's going to take what Bobrovsky did last night. It's going to take Skinner to do in Edmonton. They're not going to do it in Florida.
Game time decisions only on SportsGrid.
8 playoff games at home for Boston in Beantown. They are 6-2 straight up.
The wild card, I would say, in this game is not necessarily, well, what are we going to get out of Luka Doncic, Kyrie Irving, Brown, and certainly Tatum. It is Kristaps Porzingis to me, because we're not getting back a player that's like, hey, rotational guy. Like, remember when Derek Lively went down with an injury? He was playing well, but a young player, like a piece.
The early line, only on SportsGrid.
Your gut says Miami is going to win, and you should take the over. Your gut also said your NFT selfies would only go up in value. They didn't. But your head is on SportsGrid and knows the QB is in concussion protocol. The backup has a 45 QBR against the zone coverage. The New York D has the most sacks in the league. So yeah, trust your head. It's smarter to be on SportsGrid.
Garrett Cole is getting ready to come back too. I guess look, they've played great without him, but you're not going to say to Garrett Cole, look, don't come back. I mean, it's a ridiculous conversation to have.
They're not going to take any unnecessary chances. And look, they're at the point where they have a lead. They certainly are going to make the playoffs, I would say, barring some sort of complete collapse. And that's all it takes.
Newswire, only on SportsGrid.
All right, welcome back in-game live, prime time here on the SportsGrid Network. We have found some aloe, so Steve Merrill is back with us here. We've got him all lotioned up. He's ready to go
for the new
with the sunburn.
Good.
That's right. No, just saying that. We'll leave it at that.
My neck.
Leave it at that.
This is neck.
Of the waist.
Yes,
Come on.
coaching
Come on,
first
Joe.
base in 90 degrees in the yes, that's going to be a little sunburnish
The
there,
kids yesterday, we
but
found
we've got
Finale.
them
That
covered
comes
here.
across great. Let's put that on my highlight clip. Right?
Yeah,
That's
yeah.
fantastic.
Listen, they're going to have to keep tuned to see where we go with that aloe. All right, so we have a terrible game going on in the NBA Game 5, 67-46. Boston is all over them. I think it's all she wrote for Dallas. The only game worse, Merrill, than the Boston-Dallas game has to be the Rangers right now at home are losing 12-2. And they're in the sixth inning. So have the Mets figured something out here? Are they a play-on team that we're missing? Because this Rangers lineup is absolutely horrific.
You know, Joe, I think I missed something. You know, last week I was adamant about how fade the Phillies. They're due to regress after a 70% start. That trip to London might be the catalyst we need. And I was thinking, well, it's not good for the Mets. I think I looked at this wrong. It probably was good for the Mets. You know, we talk about the bye week in the NFL, and I've always said, people are like, is it a play on or play against? I go, I've always felt the bye week is a momentum shifter. So it's good for teams that are struggling. That's been back tested. That's been proven. Teams that are struggling in the NFL benefit from the bye, whereas a team that's been red hot often doesn't need it. It's almost like that's what happened here. The Phillies have gotten cooled off. The Mets are now all of a sudden playing better. Maybe the London trip had something to do with that, and we'll see if it carries on. You know, I mentioned before the break, June 17th, 3 years ago, the Braves were 4 games below 500 on this date. They ended up 15 games above 500 and win the World Series, and they lost Acuna a few weeks after this for the season. He's out. They won again, I believe, tonight to now 8 games above 500, but they're still 8 behind the Phillies. So maybe they're not going to win the division, but that might be a good thing. It seems like the division winners never do anything in the new playoff format anyway.
So true.
Yeah. I'm sorry. I'm getting a text from my kid. She said to me, I told you that the Celtics were going to blow out the Mavericks. And I'm like, she said, I'm watching you guys on TV right now. And I told you. So I just wanted to acknowledge that my 10-year-old knew. I call it the 2020 club. When they give it to you after the fact, like vision is 2020, always after the fact. Guys used to do it in the book all the time, too. Merrill, that's good stuff for the National League. What about the American League? Is there anybody in the American League that we should be looking at? Because, I mean, like we talked about it a couple of days ago on one of the shows.
Right.
The American League West is all over the place, and there's teams, and I keep falling for the American League Central. There might be a team or two there. I mean, the Guardians are good, but are the Twins or the Royals? Anybody you're looking at to kind of maybe start playing on more than off going forward in the American League?
Oh, now if you're talking regular season, that's a different story. I thought you were talking maybe to win it all, and I was going to say, you know, pitching obviously is key. You know, the playoffs are all about pitching. The Guardians do have a great bullpen, so they might be live for that reason.
Yes.
But I still think the Orioles and Yankees are the 2 best teams in the American League. One of them has to be the wild card by default. There again, maybe that'll be a benefit for that team.
Yeah.
As we've seen the division winners, including the Orioles, exit quickly last year. I think the Orioles are the team to beat. They're getting better each season. They learned from last year, and they have a better record against winning teams still than the Yankees, so that could very well end up being the difference.
Garrett Cole coming back this week, Wednesday, in fact, I think against the Orioles. He's pitching here. So the rich get richer. But quite honestly, have we missed him? If you're a Yankees guy now, have we missed him? Because that pitching staff has been lights out.
No, I agree, but I looked at his AA numbers the other day, Joe. In his first 2 starts, he had like a 0.5 ERA or whip or something, you know, like a 100 batting average, opponent's batting average. So I think he's going to be healthy when he gets back. And maybe, you know, it could be a disruption during the regular season, but that does make the Yankees very strong in the postseason. That's why I think Baltimore and New York are the 2 teams to beat in the AL.
Yeah. All right, Steve. Yeah. Third quarter just started. You got 5 to 10 seconds. Boston wins this game by how many?
17 or more, which would cover the second half, I believe. Although your daughter being so confident when the game's only halfway over gives me hesitation now. It might seem too easy.
Yes. Well, don't worry. We'll call you in an hour and let you know we told you so there. Double R, 1L, Steve Merrill.
NBA show and Wager Talk, right. So I knew this was a done deal. So I'm going to scratch that off my calendar, I think.
Go get your aloe on. In-game live primetime continues here on the Grid.